Elon Musk just called out Gary Black. Is he trying to compete with Kramer? Asks Elon. Some have asked why I would pay even $78 per share for Rivian. Keep in mind, this is from 2021. And Rivian stock is down 90% since 2021. We now have a date for when FSD 12.4 is going to be released, which is a major improvement, and rollout will probably start next week. Elon says it will blow your mind. V12 point releases have been pretty major, so I'm really excited to see how much better it is. The next Tesla FSD release could be quite bullish for the stock, and if you like the idea of that, like and subscribe. 12.4 has almost completely retrained models. The final touches are for comfort, as it sometimes accelerates or brakes too fast for most people's taste. We know that 12.5 is a whole other level, and Elon is already talking about 12.6. 12.5 and 12.6 are in various stages of testing. We are getting into rare, complex situations. For example, going down a narrow one-way road, encountering a road closure, and having to reverse out to find a new route. That closure also needs to be communicated to the rest of the fleet so you don't get a whole bunch of Teslas stuck down the road. The Chinese government will likely support Tesla's local testing of robotaxi. According to a report from China Daily, Tesla still needs approval to collect and transmit the data needed to train Tesla vehicles before the full rollout of FSD can happen in China. And the report says that the issue wasn't discussed in detail during Musk's visit to China. A source close to Baidu, a company that Tesla has just made a deal with to have better maps in China, said he had not seen any new deal related to FSD functions between Tesla and Baidu. But I don't think such a deal is necessary. Tesla just needs rough maps so that you can enter your final destination and that the vehicle can just navigate there on full self-driving. Today, we are exactly 3 months away from the robotaxi unveil. It is quite interesting that on May 8th, we learned about this new rumor. Tesla is definitely making progress in China. And here's the original source of the report. Chinese officials told Musk that China welcomes Tesla to do some robotaxi tests in the country and hopes it to set a good example. More news from China for Tesla. A board in Shanghai approved the construction plan for Tesla's Megapack factory. So this is good news. Things are definitely moving forward. We should expect actual construction to begin any day now. This approval was specifically river related. Officially, construction is expected to begin this month and mass production by Q1 of next year. Tesla is conducting more layoffs. 80% of Tesla China supercharging team has been laid off, leaving only a few people for operation and maintenance. Chris says, many of my friends at Tesla have been laid off. Elon's philosophy is basically number 1, dissatisfaction with the status quo. Number 2, total destruction. And number 3, reconstruction. Well, at least in this case, not the whole supercharging team was laid off, but most of it, yeah. I know there's a lot of pushback against what Elon is doing, but as investors, we have to remember multiple things that happened before. For example, when he laid off the Raptor 2 team at SpaceX, I thought he lost his mind, and magically 6 months later, production like 5x. And then something like 80% of the Twitter workforce was laid off, and X today is operating just fine. We've also seen a very similar thing with Starlink satellites. This is not the first, the second, or even the third time Elon has done this. Elon has done this many times before. Tesla is sending another round of Cybertruck Foundation Series invites. When is this going to end? When is Tesla actually going to start producing regular Cybertrucks? Seems like demand for the Foundation Series Cybertrucks is very high. Gregor Truck says, I've still never actually gotten an email. So this still could keep going on for a few months, and maybe even longer. Do you remember Elon back in 2021 saying, to be frank, there's always some chance that Cybertruck will be a flop because it is so unlike anything else. I don't care, said Elon. I love it so much even if others don't. But fast forward to 2024 and we can safely say it is a major hit. This post from Tesla got 33 million views. Driving with FSD supervised can reduce fatigue since you won't have to frequently make micro adjustments as compared to driving without it. On simpler roads especially, it is so relaxing to just turn on FSD and just let it do its thing. I'm also seeing people saying that their free trial just ended and they subscribed. I suspect the reason why this got so many views is because Elon reposted this, which is good. Elon is focused on Tesla. There's a story not from Reuters, but this time Verge. All right. They say Elon Musk doesn't like LiDAR, obviously. The laser sensor that powers many companies' self-driving ambitions. He previously called it a crutch and said any company that relies on LiDAR for its autonomous capabilities was doomed. Doomed. He said it like that, not just once. Doomed. Well, apparently Tesla is stocking up on crutches in its quarterly earnings report released today. Orlando-based LiDAR manufacturer Luminar disclosed that Tesla was its largest LiDAR customer in Q1, comprising more than 10% of the company's revenue for the quarter. However, eventually they do write, it shouldn't come as a total shock that Tesla is LiDAR curious. In 2021, a Tesla Model Y was photographed in Florida sporting rooftop LiDAR sensors made by Luminar. Tesla used LiDAR only to collect ground truth data. It was not to put LiDAR sensors in vehicles to deploy FSD technology, relying on LiDAR. And Elon just explained, we don't need them even for that anymore. So I got curious. Let me check this company's stock price. I mean, its biggest customer just said, we don't need them anymore, basically. So the stock must be down, right? Wrong! The stock is up 35% today alone. What is going on? The only story I see about that stock is just how Tesla is its biggest customer. Maybe investors have not seen this comment from Elon Musk yet. Oh, they just published their earnings, so maybe that's why. However, looking at the stock price, you would think the company is heading for bankruptcy. It's down 94% from its peak. Whoops, this is just in. US prosecutors are examining whether Tesla committed securities and wire fraud by misleading investors and consumers about its electric vehicle self-driving capabilities, per Reuters. I have FSD purchased outright on my Tesla vehicle, and I am actually really happy with what I got. So whoever is trying to investigate Tesla here, I would suggest try to vote them out of their office. My car regularly does drives with no interventions, so where is the fraud here? It wasn't able to do it earlier, but now it often can. If you're new here, we have heard these BS stories of autopilot and FSD being examined and investigated for years, like this story from 2022. No charges will ever be brought for the simple reason that the technology is real. Omar believes this is a news plant from short sellers. Although do note that around this time at the end of 2022, we had quite a few stories like this coming out about Tesla, and it just so coincided with Elon's acquisition of Twitter. And I personally think that was not a coincidence. The best way for Tesla to beat this investigation is to improve full self-driving quickly, which is exactly what Elon Musk is doing. But the probe, which is not evidence of wrongdoing, could result in criminal charges, civil sanctions, or no action at all. Prosecutors are far from deciding how to proceed, one of the sources said, which is good news for us Tesla stock investors, in part because they are sifting through voluminous documents Tesla provided in response to subpoenas. By the time they finish going through all of these documents, and sounds like they have maybe thousands of pages, there's a good chance that full self-driving is going to be much better by then. And ideally, by then, it would be safer than human driving. Prosecutors scrutinizing Tesla's autonomous car claims are proceeding with caution, recognizing the legal hurdles they face. The people familiar with the inquiry said they will need to demonstrate that Tesla's claims cross the line from legal salesmanship to material and knowingly false statements that unlawfully harmed consumers or investors. Legal experts told Reuters, and this is perhaps the most important part. US courts previously have ruled that puffery or corporate optimism, which is exactly what Elon does with full self-driving, regarding product claims do not amount to fraud, meaning Tesla should not be liable for anything. In 2008, a federal appeals court ruled that statements of corporate optimism alone do not demonstrate that a company officially intentionally misled investors. And maybe Elon's lawyers told Elon to say this repeatedly, and he said this quite a few times, or maybe he just says it because it's true, which it is true. Frankly, I am pathologically optimistic. It's a mental condition. Kind of have to be to try to do all these crazy things. And I always bite off more than I chew. and then sit there with puffed out cheeks like a squirrel that ate too much. So there you go. That's Elon's disclaimer. Justice Department officials will likely seek internal Tesla communications as evidence that Musk or others knew they were making false statements. Yeah, I don't think this investigation is going to go anywhere other than a trash bin in that investigation office. It's going nowhere. They have been trying to find stuff for 2 years now and they got nothing. In the meantime, check out what this Waymo vehicle just did. It was going to go the other direction and then it just changed completely where it's going in the middle of the turn. What? Look at this again. See, it was trying to go there. I have never seen FSD do anything remotely similar to something like this. Gregor has the exact same experience as I. That car has LiDAR, so it's supposed to be better than Tesla's FSD, but I don't know. And here's going to be one used for Tesla to deploy FSD to save money. Right now, every single vehicle that is unloaded from the semi-trucks has to be driven manually by a person. FSD, however, could do all of that work for Tesla, saving time and money. These are vehicles getting ready to be exported from China, by the way. So I would expect China's numbers to maybe be a bit low as well, as so many vehicles are sent for exports, but we'll see. What? In just 24 hours into Mr. Beast's Tesla giveaway, his Instagram post already has over 5.7 million comments and 9.3 million likes. This post must have over 100 million views. Whoever is getting that Cybertruck is going to be especially happy. At least to some degree, this should help Tesla sell more Teslas. Remember that misleading headline from Reuters that said there's a 4-day shutdown of Tesla's production, which actually turns out to be just a 1-day shutdown. And even that is not really fair to say, because when Germans get Thursdays off, they also usually get Fridays. Thursday is a public holiday and most of Germany is not going to work on Friday. But Reuters updated their headline to say that it's a 1-day shutdown. So at least they corrected it. Reuters' track record covering Tesla is certainly not flawless. The Tesla community was certainly very upset with that bad reporting. And many are not happy that they are even reporting this 1-day shutdown because it is ridiculous. Every high-tech factory on the planet models 2 to 6 weeks of shutdowns, maintenance, upgrades per calendar year in their capex utilization planning. So if Reuters covered most companies like that, it would be a lot of articles every single day. Troy predicts that this shutdown is not going to negatively affect Tesla's deliveries because Tesla has enough inventory in Europe right now. And this is a pretty decent post. One little appreciated fact about Elon. Elon is the automaker CEO with by far the most experience. Elon has led an automaker which ships internationally for 20 years at this point. There is no other automaker CEO with anywhere near as many years under his belt at the top as Elon. Although valuable, experience gained during early career years at mid-management roles have less value than years at the top where everything comes together and where the key decisions have to be made. Pretty much all of Elon's experience is at the top. Ooh, the 3 Korean battery companies have received compensation or are about to receive compensation due to sluggish electric vehicle sales because these companies that made agreements with these battery makers have not purchased the minimum amount required. So Tesla should be able to purchase some of these batteries at cheaper prices. Steven has a request for everyone. Please don't tell anyone about these random unconnected events that mean nothing. I am still buying Tesla stock. Thank you. He's referring to the following breadcrumbs. On August 8th, Tesla is going to unveil a robotaxi. Musk made an unannounced trip to China earlier. Tentative China FSD approval is in place, and Tom Zhu went back to China, and Tesla crushed it in China when he was in charge over there. So Steven concludes, there's absolutely nothing to see here, plus FSD and robotaxis aren't a big deal, plus Tesla is just a car company. Elon is encouraging everyone to vote. He reposted this. If you have multiple accounts with Tesla shares and voted already by clicking a link in an email from Fidelity, don't assume all of your shares have been voted. You should check right now to make sure you have voted your shares in all of your accounts because you probably haven't. Follow these instructions to double check. So you can see here that James only voted for 1 and he has 3 more. Here's someone else who thought he voted, and look at how much more work he needs to do. He thought he voted fully on May 2nd, so double check. At least Charles Schwab sends you multiple emails if you have more than one account, but Fidelity only sends you one email even if you have multiple accounts. We got year-to-date sales in Europe. You can pause and take a look. You can still clearly see that there is a delivery wave, but these waves have been smoothened out a little bit. If you're wondering what is driving Tesla stock today, I think it's that Reuters article saying Tesla is being investigated, but really if you read the whole thing, there's nothing in there. Rivian reported its Q1 earnings results. They did miss on the earnings. Revenue was slightly higher than expected though. Rivian continues losing money. Now they lose only $39,000 roughly versus $43,000 in Q4. Rivian says that in the first quarter of 2024, they hosted over 28,000 demo drives, a 91% increase versus the fourth quarter of 2023. They shut down one of their plants and they installed a lot of new robots, optimized everything, and now they think that they will see significant progress on the R1 material cost optimization efforts following the planned retooling upgrade. Despite losing a lot of money per each vehicle sold, Rivian reaffirms the goal of positive gross margins in Q4. Farzad asked, how is it possible for Rivian to become profitable? But there is a statement from Rivian which sort of tries to address it. Q1 gross profit per vehicle delivered was basically minus $40,000. It's crazy. Which includes $15,500 of depreciation. Okay. And $1,600, almost $1,700 of stock-based compensation expense. Our results were negatively impacted by $9,300 per unit delivered, primarily related to various supplier and other costs incurred in advance of the new technology changes and parts integration into the R1 platform. As part of our cost of revenue efficiency initiatives, as a result of the retooling upgrade, we expect significant improvement in the material depreciation and conversion cost of our vehicles and remain confident in our path to achieving modest gross profit in the fourth quarter of this year. It does sound that Rivian is trying to pull off an Elon Musk-like miracle. I mean, I wish them luck, but they're losing $40,000 per vehicle sold and they think it will go to above zero. The trend, however, is positive. In Q4 of 2022, they lost $124,000 per car. So now they're only losing, when I say only, it's still a high number, $40,000 basically. But Rivian has reduced its 2024 capital expenditures guidance to $1.2 billion, down from $1.7 billion. They say we also expect savings from moving the R2 launch to normal to impact 2025 and 2026. Rivian is still burning cash. They have about $8 billion left, down 13% from $9 billion from Q4. Rivian's accumulated losses have exceeded $20 billion for the first time in Q1 of this year. And the bad thing for Rivian is Rivian's cash burn actually worsened in Q1 compared to before. Now that $8 billion in cash maybe doesn't sound bad until you realize, oh, Rivian also has some long-term debt, which remains at $4.4 billion. Specifically looking at Rivian's operating margin, it also worsened to negative 123%. But I think average gross loss per vehicle, that's probably one of the most important metrics that Rivian needs to focus on if they don't want to go bankrupt. It's one thing to burn cash if you are investing more, but it's another thing to keep burning more cash while reducing capital expenditures. It's also not helping that Rivian's total revenue is dropping. And this is quite incredible. Rivian's overhead expenses increased significantly as was expected from Rivian's announced layoffs. For reference, Tesla sells over 30 times more vehicles than Rivian, but Tesla's selling, general, and administrative expenses are only about 3x of Rivian's. Rivian also is significantly reducing its average selling price. Rivian maintained a weak vehicle sales guidance for 2024 of 57,000 vehicles, implying a next growth scenario for Rivian's current lineup. This is one of my favorite charts from AJ. This shows free cash flow history of pure EV makers, and you can see that some companies are sort of trying to reverse this trend downwards. You can see it here with Xpeng and NIO, but some companies like Lucid and especially Rivian, woo! It's It's going down. It's a free fall. Shout out to AJ for beating Wall Street's estimates when it came to Rivian's earnings. By the way, Rivian doubled its revenue year on year, and still they are losing lots of money. Check this one out. Hyundai-backed self-driving start, emotional delays, plans, cuts employees. The struggling joint venture with Aptiv received a $900 million infusion from Hyundai last week. So this one is probably going to fail too. In an interview, Lucid's CEO Peter Rawlinson said EV manufacturers from China are many years behind Tesla. Rawlinson said the battery and the drivetrain technologies as some of the examples where he sees Tesla having no competition from China. I will post a few exclusive short videos on the Eclipse channel. It will be very obvious when they will be exclusive. In the thumbnail, it will say recorded live, just like these previous videos there. There's one big Tesla stock investor who is going to cut the position in Tesla stock, I think. So I'm going to cover that in the video later today that I will record live on the Eclipse channel. I will put a link down below in the description of this video for you to subscribe to the Eclipse channel if you don't want to miss these exclusive videos. And going forward, I'm only publishing the full daily news videos on this channel, not on the old channel anymore. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, otherwise YouTube may stop showing you these videos completely. Subscribing sends YouTube a strong signal that this is a channel you want to watch. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode.